14. Can't believe we've done 14 of these. So number's going to keep growing and keep surprising me every time I'm up here. But yeah, welcome. I'm Tyler, the operations workstream leader here, to lead you through our weekly governance call. There is a Zoom chat that has been posted inside the stage, a Zoom link in the stage chat that you can follow up on all of the slides that I've prepared for today. And this is my first time running the governance call without a second monitor here, so I'm going to have to do my Zoom presentation slide here. So I'll do my best to be hopping back and forth between Discord and Zoom, but might not have the best eyes on the stage chat today. So without further ado, I'm going to get us started. Welcome to the call, guys. We've got some lovely artwork from Gray Machine here. Unfortunately, we don't have a POAP for this yet, and I've got a great next GIF here for that. We do have a backlog of POAPs. We created a whole bunch, and if you actually look at the ShapeShift POAP, if you type in Shapeshift and look at them in the POAP's website there, you can see all of the different NFTs that we've got. And there's a whole bunch of cool new ones that have artwork that are getting added there, but we still have quite a few that are at the coming soon stage. So unfortunately, until we finish that backlog of creating all of those artworks and getting caught up with the POAP team, we're kind of on hold of creating new ones. So there still is a little bit of a gap here, and we apologize for that. But we've got the marketing team and the product team both working on cranking those out as soon as possible. And as soon as we are able to launch POAPs again, we will start with probably a call like this and then slowly roll them out to all of our calls in the future. So keep an eye out for that. Apologies, we don't have any POAPs for this call yet, but we will have them soon. So going over the agenda for anyone who's unfamiliar with this call, this is the first time they're joining, we go over everything that is any sort of post or idea or proposal that's inside the ShapeShift DAO governance process. And we start with proposals that have recently passed, and then we look at proposals that are currently active and potentially could have some votes that can be cast. And then we go into forum posts that are in the ideation process, followed with forum posts that are just in the forum there. And every time we get to one of those, if you're associated with that, we invite you to come up onto the stage. Please raise your hand, we'll bring you up, and you can talk about your proposal, the state that it's in, where we can find next steps to follow up if maybe it's passed and we're looking for progress. And then it also allows a great Q&A chance inside this channel for people to ask questions inside that stage chat, or to even hop up on the stage here and ask some fellow Foxes some questions. If we get into any sort of contentious conversation that starts to derail the call, I might hop in as a rep and say that we should reschedule a new call to go deeper into this conversations, and we've had that happen once or twice. But it looks like we also have a pretty light agenda today, so I think we might have some room to have some discussions around some of the proposals just fine here. But if we need to do an extended session where the community is very interested or we have some contention we'd like to go over, we will schedule a separate call for that. And then, yeah, we also have some space to discuss the governance process in general. If you have any questions about what we're doing here, I know there's a lot of pieces that are kind of broken in boardroom right now, so I've got some slides that talk about how we're doing things inside the forum. And then kind of an open QA. I know sometimes we have some cool ideas that kind of snowball into other discussions. And so if we've got some questions about those things, we'll leave some space at the end of the call for that. All right. And yeah, I can't see this Discord stage chat at all. So I don't know if there's any Foxes out there that have jumped on stage with me, but if I could have someone that was slightly modding the raised hands and any sort of questions to jump up with me, that would be great if we get there, because I'm flying blind. So thank you for that, whoever hops up. Next, we have the community governance tracker. I plug this at the beginning of every single governance call because it's the best way to get a high-level view of all of the statuses of everything that we've got currently active and past things as well. And this has now been graciously updated by Miss. She's jumped in and been working behind the scenes with the CMOD team, as well as the operations team here, to provide some cool just data that we've got going on to figure out what's going on with these governance statuses. So thank you, Miss. Thank you, Never Was. Glad to have you contributing to the DAO and hope that you continue to do so. All right, for our first pass proposal, we've got SCP31 that passed soft quorum. Woo! So Willie Fox, I don't know if you want to hop up here and talk about next steps or maybe even insight about what's been going on with the current NFTs that have been selling, that the auction has been happening with Shapeshift, but love to have you talk a little bit.
Thanks, Tyler. Woo, SCP31. This has passed. I think next step for the DAO is really to receive these NFTs. The Shapeshift Corporation right now holds these NFTs, and this is kind of just a gift from the corporation to the DAO, which is awesome. And yeah, so the DAO will be receiving 16 of these Spells of Genesis Shapeshift cards. The agreement is that the DAO, 5 of these will be immediately transferable up to Fox governance, whether we want to sell or hodl them, or maybe some cool new DeFi opportunities pop up where we can like use them as collateral, TBD. But yeah, 5 will be immediately available for transfer. 5, the DAO has agreed to not transfer for at least 1 year. And then 6 cannot be transferred for at least 2 years. So pretty exciting. Thank you, Shapeshift Corporation, for the gift. Shapeshift Corporation also has 16 of these cards of their own. And that's, as far as I know, that's pretty much it, right? The part of the story around here is that Shapeshift Corporation held, I think it was like 690 of these cards, and total ever created were 1,000. And some collectors from the Spells of Genesis community reached out and suggested Shapeshift burn the majority of the cards that they hold, which would then increase the value of the remaining cards. And so that's kind of what motivated this whole initiative. And yeah, part of the idea was that, we'll take 16 of these cards and we'll transfer them to the DAO. And that'll be a great benefit for the DAO, help add some NFTs that are valuable to its treasury. And also it's just a really cool, experiment and a cool story that we're hoping that the Spells of Genesis community will be excited about. So yeah, also a fun fact is so Shapeshift, with the 16 cards that Shapeshift Corporation holds, they've been auctioning off 1 per week. So they've sold 2 cards so far. The first one sold for 4.942 ETH. That was 22K worth. And the next card sold for 3.7 ETH. And these are auctions that are starting at 1 ETH and then just selling to the highest bidder at the end of the week. And a new auction just started earlier today for the 3rd card. So that's pretty cool. And you can just do some napkin math. Like if they keep selling for an average of 4 ETH, which I know we were hoping that they might even sell for higher, but there's a little bit less activity in the Spells of Genesis market this week than there were a couple weeks ago, but these things are volatile, so I'm still optimistic that might pick up. But yeah, if you do the math, you take these 16 cards, you imagine that we might sell them for an average of 4 ETH each. Current ETH price, it's 64 ETH times like 4,500. We're looking at 288K potentially of value that the DAO is being gifted. So love to see it, and thank you again, Shapeshift Corporation. And Fox token holders, I guess the next decision will be, what do we want to do with these cards once we receive them? But no rush to decide there. I think right now it's kind of cool just to see what's happening with Shapeshift auctioning off these cards. Maybe once Shapeshift's done auctioning off these cards at the end of the year, the DAO can consider if we want to continue auctioning them or if we want to hold on to the 5 that are immediately transferable.
Yeah, I was going to mention or maybe ask what if someone was interested in maybe doing a proposal to do the next steps on this. But now that I think about it, maybe this is something for the Treasury Committee that we're going to talk about a little bit later. This could be a really perfect first cool, strange financial situation that they could find themselves planning risk around. So,
perfect segue. Yeah, great thought.
Awesome. We're unfortunately not a segue right into that yet, but we will get to there soon. So next that was our only past proposal, and now we've got an active proposal up right now, and that is electing Diggy as our Product Workstream leader for the next 4 months. Hey, Diggy, are you on stage with me?
Yes, I am.
All right. Hey, you want to give a little synopsis about kind of where we are with this, what got us here, and what the plan is going into the future?
Sure. For those of you who don't know, I'm Diggy. This proposal is now active. I had originally posted it on the forum for feedback and up or down voting. It got upvoted, so I moved it in this morning for official voting. This proposal is to elect me as workstream leader for the product workstream for 4 months. Previously, Chow had kind of stepped into this role, but has decided to take a break from the DAO. And so I've decided to, I guess, move myself into consideration for this role. I've pretty much temporarily kind of already taken over some of the responsibilities of product workstream leader in the meantime, with the hopes that I would get voted in formally going forward for the next 4 months. I was a former centralized Fox. I was the senior UX manager on the product team. So definitely very familiar and work well already with engineering and a lot of the other people that are continuing forward in the DAO. And I'm super excited to be, I guess, putting myself up for this role. And yeah, so the original proposal is just for 4 months. And the goal is to measure the success of the work stream over the next 4 months. And then at the end of I guess, as we get towards the end of that, I might put up another proposal to be elected going forward or not. I want to see how it goes and make sure that we can, be successful as a product work stream and ensure that, I'm doing a good job as leader. And that's it. If anybody has any questions, happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Diggy. I think it's probably also worth highlighting too that there's a cool, unique situation there that you and Beard are going to be working together to split those UX responsibilities, and worth a shout out to Beard for all of the work that he does and the ways that he steps up kind of behind the scenes as well, and will work well with you there. So wanted to add that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Super awesome. Beard is amazing. Thanks.
You're wearing your all-time high pants, Beard, for the markets for us. All right. As we move on, Ideation and Boardroom is still out, unfortunately. We even had a good question that came up inside the Discord today, both today and a little bit earlier, about clarity around what our current process is. Linked on this slide here, which you'll be able to find inside our recording meetings right after this call. You'll be able to see the forum proposal template for all of the different information we're asking for you to have an official ideation post inside the forum. And Macaulay Culkin just expresses it so well. All right, the new forum post that we have here, we've got SCP31, the We Foxed Up Fun. Meg, are you around, and do you want to chat a little bit about where this is? I know there were some edits and changes that happened to this from when you originally posted it.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot was spurred from the conversation last week, since the problem we're trying to solve on the greater scale for the DAO is how to fund gas costs. And while this particular proposal is asking for a pretty small amount, and originally was asking for a small amount that I had thought I would be trading into ETH for gas costs, I think I'm going to push pause on the ideation phase for right now. I'm not really sure the best course of action, maybe just keeping it there as SP33. And then once the new Treasury Committee is put together and we have kind of a plan on how we can delve out gas costs, because I have a little bit of time. So I'm not in a huge rush to solve this like this week or next week. So I'm kind of hoping within the next few weeks, we have some more information from the newly formed Treasury Committee, and then we'll be able to move forward with the ideation and move it into a formal proposal. So for right now, I appreciate all the thoughts so far. Everyone seems very supportive of it. I think it's just going to be, a nice tool to have in the customer support's toolbox for customer retention. And no one seemed to have any disagreement with the total Fox that I had requested for our first campaign of this. So I'm going to move forward with it being 5,000 Fox, but I'm going to push pause until we figure out the funding of the gas costs.
Thank you for all those updates. And yeah, I'm definitely in support of this, and I know most of the community is as well. We want to make sure anyone who's got a bad time, we can help take care of and point them in the right direction. So thanks, Meg, for those updates, and we'll look forward to hearing more when you're able to unpause that. We also have Willie Fox back up with this cool new proposal for Fox and RUNE, a swap. Would you like to step up and chat about that a little bit, Willie?
You bet. So this proposal just went into the ideation phase yesterday, Tuesday, I think is what. Yeah, Tuesday. And it's pretty straightforward. It's for a $1 million swap of Fox token for RUNE, and then a joint liquidity providing. So both the Shapeshift Treasury and the RUNE and the THORChain Treasury would then deposit $2 million of Fox and RUNE to the new pool that is on THORChain, and that's also exciting. If you guys haven't heard, Fox went live on THORChain Tuesday morning. So you can now trade Fox with any of the chains that THORChain supports, like Bitcoin or BNB, trustlessly, without KYC and without custody, non-custodially, which is really awesome. And pools are only as good as how much liquidity they have. So this is a great way to grow liquidity. It would be a revenue-generating asset, so the DAO will actually earn fees whenever someone trades Fox, plus emissions from THORChain. Liquidity providers get RUNE emissions. And it's just a great way to diversify our treasury. I know many of us, many Foxes, are very bullish on THORChain, and we think that it is an asset with great tokenomics and great upside potential. And it's a great way just to further build a relationship with the THORChain community that we are already very closely aligned with and friends with. This is a great next step. So I'm in favor of it so far. It's got a lot of support. And props to Ron, props to Orion for getting this conversation started. And now, if things go well, we will be able to execute this swap before November 15th. We need another 3 days in ideation, and then TBD if this, I might even put this up for only 5-day votes because I don't think it's very contentious. I think it'll likely hit quorum pretty quickly. And I'm eager to just at least have the DAO be in the position to execute this because you never know when RUNE's going to break its all-time high and go into price discovery. And would love to get ahead of that and execute this token swap. It seems like there's a lot of support so far to move quickly with it.
Awesome. Thanks, Willie. I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention the Treasury Committee with this proposal as well. And I do think that there might be some kind of overlap or potential controls or things like that. This committee could have a good say or stake in. I know that Danielle posted something about similar concerns like that, I believe, on the forum or in Discord. So I would imagine maybe that can be wrapped up into this conversation, which we're going to get to in a little bit when she gets on stage here to chat with us. But does anyone else have anything they'd like to share about this before we move on? I don't know. I still can't quite see who's around with me. I'll take silence as moving on too. All right, that sounds good enough for me. We are going to move on into these new forum posts. These are posts that are not fully in ideation yet. They're maybe looking for some feedback or some constructive incubation, criticism, things like that inside the forum post. So if you see your name up on here, please join the stage. And we don't have to necessarily go in order, but we can if you're already there. And I'm just going to pass the mic to whoever just hops up first and says, introduce themselves. I'll speak at once now.
Hey, everyone. I didn't know if you were going in order there. Okay, so just yesterday, I added a proposal discussion to the customer support workstream forum. Basically, we're looking for a web designer to take on the task of redesigning the help desk page, which currently lives at shapeshift.zendesk.com. I'll post a link to the discussion in the stage chat, and please respond to the post or DM me if you're interested in taking on this job or have any questions. If the proposal does end up passing, the payout will be $3,000 in Fox token. But yeah, this is still in the initial forum stage, and hopefully I'll move it to ideation sometime next week. And thanks to everyone who has given the forum post a like or comment already, because it's only been up for about 24 hours so far.
Yeah, thanks, Mogi. A lot of these are super early and young in the forum post, so if you haven't taken a chance to read them and respond, please check them out and follow up. add your feedback, add your hearts. Who else do we have on stage? Do we have a Meg or a Danielle?
Let's start off with Danielle.
Okay, yes, give me 10 seconds.
All right. Maybe Meg, if you're ready.
I don't have too much to add from the week before on the analytics side of things. I can say there's one new development that our team plans on delivering our first run of data reporting from the customer support side of things in December. So we're going to be preparing the template of what we're going to be providing, but there's going to be a weekly post and a monthly post. And the monthly post is more than likely going to be accompanied with a community call with customer support. So we're planning on a cadence of probably monthly for that to review things like app reviews, talk about trends in the customer experience, and talk about agent performance, because of course there's still that line of being transparent on our successes and downfalls as a customer support team, so we can hopefully keep impressing the community and keep getting our proposals passed to provide this service to everybody. But outside of that, I don't have any other major updates.
All right.
Great.
Hopefully that gave you more than 10 seconds, D-Wall.
It did. I had what I needed. I went ahead and shared the link in the stage chat to the link to the forum post about this. I went ahead and wrote it, in the style of a proposal, just so everyone could see where my head was at. So I'm going to take a little bit of time, hopefully like less than 5 minutes, but I think we have it. We've been moving pretty quickly through the agenda here today. So this came up, I think actually it started like last week in the community call, talking about the We Foxed Up fund with support, and just something as simple as like, well, where do we get the ETH for the gas for these types of projects? And in a way that doesn't require a full proposal post every single time. And so a few of us got to talking in the Tokenomics Workstream. Someone came up with this idea of a committee, and it just kind of has flourished from there. I want to go over kind of the high level stuff. I would very much appreciate if you guys read the whole forum post and proposal. I think this is actually one of the most influential and potentially something that brings us long-term success. So I think it is really important, and I'd love to hear from more voices. So the specifications on this would be that it would establish a Treasury Management and Diversification Committee. It would be 5 qualified community members. They would govern by a majority rule. We're going to add in something about quorum with this group as well. This would be a trial basis for 3 months, from November 16th to February 16th. And this trial basis, I think I haven't been convinced otherwise that we should take a compensation until after we've kind of proven ourselves. I think that was like a large discussion that I saw around this. And I think since it is just 3 months, and I'll definitely take into account, I'll talk to the 5 people, and make sure that they're all good with that. But yeah, so far, no compensations requested. And then a subsequent proposal will be required for this committee to continue on after February 16th. And then one other thing I think is important to note is that it's not like these people immediately get access to all of the DAO's treasury. There'll still be a check and a balance with our trusted signers at the DAO. So they won't be able to go outside of their allocated funds. They won't be able to just go and send money wherever. There will be a check and balance there. And then it's just something that I did write into here. This goes for pretty much everything in the DAO world, but I did just want to make sure it's specifically laid out here. The DAO can replace this committee or remove their power at any time. The DAO can vote to replace any single member on the committee at any time. And if any member quits, a new committee member must be elected by community vote. I put in here a state of the Treasury. I think that, even so far, we do have things that are not just Fox. We do have Fox in different pools and different places. So we'll be tracking this more thoroughly and like weekly and reporting this out to the community. So the requirements of this committee is that they take a long-term holistic approach to DAO treasury management and act towards long-term success of the Fox token and the Shapeshift DAO. The committee will be a dedicated team watching, acting, and reporting on a weekly basis. At first, just 40 million Fox is available to the committee to employ strategies as they see fit. Examples of that are like collateralization, liquidity provision, yield farming, and other DeFi strategies. The committee will administer the pools that the community owns, the committee that the community owns. I've been getting those two words mixed up. And then also, if the committee should want to sell Fox, which we don't think, we think that there's a lot of other options before that, but say Fox shoots up to $2 or something, the committee might want to diversify. And but we did put in a little caveat that the committee's tactics should have limited price impact on the Fox token, and no one tactic can drop the price by more than 2%. I also put in kind of so those are all good, but it's like, what actually is like the details, or what actually are these people going to be considering? So I put together like a roadmap and a plan. Either if the Fox RUNE pool isn't yet executed, making that our first top priority. That might go through with the community approval outside of this. That's fine. We want to research on RARI. We want to follow through with the opportunity with the index co-op and assist the support work stream in finding a way to execute their Fox Up fund. So we already have like some top priorities listed out. And then of course, just evaluating anything else that comes up. And then a few other things that we got from feedback from chatting with people was just like, this committee should definitely focus on, but it's not like a requirement, obtaining enough stable coins for a year of runway, or diversifying the treasury in such a way that maybe it allows us to achieve 2+ years runway without Fox token even being considered. So if you're following along, the next section was on a call to action. So what I did is I asked people who were interested to put their names on this forum post. And we have about, I think it's like 7 candidates last time I checked, tons of qualification, all different types of backgrounds. And I've just been really impressed and happy to see so many people, qualified candidates, stepping up and really wanting to help our DAO make these just-in-time, quick decisions and jump on opportunities. We've seen Willie is a freaking opportunity machine. He's always like, hey, what about this? What about this? Oh, I've talked to these people. I've talked to those people. And giving this committee the power to act on those, I think, is going to really help us engage in these opportunities as they come up. Especially, like I said, a lot faster than going through the whole proposal governance process each time we want to do this. So that's the overview, and that's what I wanted to just present to everyone today in the community call. And then right after this, I have a poll ready. I'll post it. Of the 7 people that have put their names out, there's going to be a poll, and you can select your top 5. And then let's call it tomorrow at lunch at I don't know, is that long enough? I want to get the like proposal up. I want to get the ball moving. I'll pick a deadline, but it'll be hopefully like tomorrow, unless anyone thinks that's like too much of a quick turnaround. But then the top 5 candidates will be listed like actually in the proposal. So the proposal will both elect a committee. It will say there's 40 million Fox that committee can do what they wish with for Treasury Management and Diversification. And it'll say the 5 individuals that are on the committee. Fox MacLeod, I saw you jumped up here. Do you have thoughts on timeline of that vote?
I think the timeline's good. Just a question I'm kind of noodling around in my head. I know when this was first being discussed, the idea of like having an alternate came up in case someone does have to step down or is unable to vote. And it seems like that got replaced with just the community voting in a new member, which I support in general. I wonder with if we have 7 qualified candidates, if 2 of those could potentially even be alternates, making sure that they're qualified, of course, is step one, but still, if they're interested, including them in one way, shape, or form outside
Yeah,
of them just attending.
I think that's a great point too, because I was like, I don't want to tell people who are interested in helping and are qualified, to just no, sorry, you didn't make it. Like, I would love for them to be involved and come to all the meetings as well. So yeah, I'm gonna, like you said, noodle on that a bit more too.
But overall, yeah, I think everything else is great. Very exciting to see how quickly this is progressing.
Thanks.
Hey D, I see 2 questions in the stage. One says, how do we know that they're qualified? And we is in
Yeah.
quotes.
So without seeing the question itself, but like each person had to post a comment on that forum post that said, what their relevant experience is. And I think every person that applied really did put in the effort and really showed, what a lot of people had, like old school traditional finance experience. And then they found out about crypto and now they've got, years of crypto experience. They have shown, maybe they're in academia, maybe they are more of an engineer type. For me, myself, I have a lot of crypto experience, but I also made sure to highlight that, I'm really detail oriented and I really can help keep up with all the moving parts at once. So yeah, I think if you haven't read that forum, I would be interested to know if that person that asked the question read the forum post and still felt like they didn't have enough information.
I think the clarity around that was not that they read that, but that how do we trust that?
Hmm. Yeah, I'd say I at least either personally know or have we have heard from, if I haven't personally met them, we've heard from all of these people, in our tokenomics calls. I think the only one I wasn't sure of was Wagme Ventures. His name is Daniel. Maybe he's here and can kind of speak to that as well. But like in the audience right now, I see Professor McCarthy, Rotolos, Al. We know Kent, and myself. So yeah, I think if there's any questions about any specific candidates, that forum might be a good place. Maybe even just going into the tokenomics public channel. And asking people directly, hey, can you tell me more about your relevant experience?
If we've got some people in the audience too, and we've got the time, I think we do. It might be good just for those that maybe missed the call where these interested parties spoke up. Maybe you could hop up on stage here and introduce yourself a little bit, just for those that may want to hear from the horse's mouth.
Cool. Yeah. Do you think we have time just to grab everybody up here?
I mean, I know that we're going to sneak Mr. Nerdhair up on stage here in a second for his thing, but we've still got about 25 minutes, and that's the last big ticket item that we've got. So I believe so.
Cool. And then just real quick before we do that, you said there were 2 questions in the stage chat.
Totally. The other one's kind of been discussed right now, and I'm not exactly sure if it's one you're equipped to answer versus it would be a problem for the Treasury. But the question is, they said that they heard that Fox reaches $2, but what about the inverse of if Fox drops to $0.00002? How would we go about funding the DAO?
Yeah. Well, the idea, especially just behind this. The reason we want to do treasury management and diversification, and I know it's a long name for a committee, but I really wanted to make it clear that it is about diversification as well. And so the goal is that we don't just sit on all this Fox until it goes down to 0.000.2 cents or whatever the hypothetical is. It's we've already made strides. We have 150,000 LP tokens. We're moving forward with this THORChain where we'll have $1 million in Fox and $1 million in RUNE up on the table. So we're already diversifying as a community, and then just giving these people the power and authority to continue diversifying, now in starting November 16th, and continuing that on. So yeah, just making sure we're taking an active weekly measured approach, and not just waiting until some, crazy price thing happens.
Awesome. I think that's a very succinct way of communicating that. Can
I
we send out
see,
some invites to?
Yeah, I was gonna say Fox MacLeod's on the stage. Rotolos, you have an invitation. You have to accept it at the top. Same with you, Professor. And Kent, I see you're here. And Al, you're here. So if you guys want to raise your hands, I'll pull you up. And yeah, whoever wants to go first on the stage. I say let's just try to be respectful of time and maybe like 2 minutes each, less than that if you can. So
Yeah, I'm happy to go. I actually hopped up here before that idea, kind of in response to the question of how we can trust the people, the information being added to the forum and being discussed right now. I wonder if it'd be worthwhile to add another section to this, something like where the committee members can do a vote of no confidence or something like that. And if 4 out of 5 want to remove someone, we have the power to do that instead of having to go through the community. But we can discuss that later. A quick introduction to me. I'm Fox MacLeod. You've probably seen me around. I'm on the Product Workstream. I just had my last day at centralized Shapeshift this last Friday, and now full-time DAO, which is super exciting. I was with Shapeshift for just over 3.5 years. Before that, I was in traditional finance, more or less doing financial sales, TD Ameritrade and Merrill Lynch. At my best, I had a book of over 200 million that I was managing. It's very comical how I left it because I thought traditional finance was just so broken and soul sucking, and I hated my job and never wanted to work in finance again. So it is very, very full circle to be throwing my head in the ring for this committee. I do a lot of trading just with myself, stocks, and of course crypto. A lot of options trading and other derivatives. Pretty good risk tolerance, I would say. Definitely a little bit more on the side of cautious, especially since we'll be handling Treasury fund, not our own personal one. So I'll definitely be someone advocating against aping into things and really trying to think of long-term ripples. But yeah, that's a quick intro to me.
Hello. So, hi everybody. I'm Rotolos. Another candidate. It was really great to read everybody. It's a lot of qualified people, which is awesome. So no matter who gets chosen, it's going to be in good hands. Myself, I'm from Canada. I'm a lawyer by training. I work in crypto. I don't do any traditional lawyering work anymore. I got my start in that with the Quadringa exchange. I'm a corporate director, sort of as a living. I'm on a number of boards. I've been the chair of a board, and relevant to this, I've been on the credit and risk committee for $1 billion financial enterprise, where preservation of capital and measured risk is everything. So that's what I kind of bring to that. I'm in the DAO business, if you will. I'm the ombudsman over at Bankless DAO and a few other things which you can read. But this is what I do for a living now, and I'd be happy to contribute because I believe in the Shapeshift sort of vision.
Regardless, who else do I have up here?
I guess I can jump in here. Hi, everyone. So this is Professor McCarthy, or just Chris McCarthy. So I am an academic coming at this from a much more theoretical and monetary background. So kind of looking at the best practices of central banks and the Bureau of International Settlements, looking at different kind of cutting edge econometrics techniques to try to find the best way to protect while still growing this pool of assets. So hopefully I'll be able to bring in some of the more scholastic influence. Again, yeah, just like Rotolos said, there's a lot of amazing talent here. So regardless of who wins, Shapeshift is going to win. And so I'm just happy to be a part of the conversation and happy to get to know everyone and kind of be reintroduced into the crypto world. I've done a lot of financial modeling for different crypto and cannabis companies, but not anything this kind of integrated. So really excited and feel very welcomed by everyone. So thank you so much.
So we're happy you're here in the DAO with us.
I can jump in next. Hey guys, I'm Kent. I just wrapped up about a 2-month hiatus of just decompressing from the insane crypto world. Prior to that, I was working at ShapeShift, centralized ShapeShift as head of R&D. I was doing that since like late 2018. That experience was, or at least a chunk of it, was pretty relevant to this treasury management role, specifically doing research into all things crypto, everything from algorithmic stablecoins to different facets of DeFi to staking mechanics and new blockchains. A lot of things that might inform our decisions on what to do with the treasury. I've also seen a number of crypto cycles, been in crypto for quite a while. Also, like I think some of my approach to treasury management could be invaluable as well. I'll just be very transparent. I'm not the type of degen that's out there, making insane trades every single day. I appreciate that stuff and I like to learn about it. My own approach, personally, and also certainly with respect to the treasury, if I were on the committee, is a little bit more cautious. Like number one, just protect our assets via smart diversification and employing the tenets of risk management. There's a lot of risks out there. If you look at some of the reports I did, frequently try to call out potential pitfalls, things like that. On the other hand, I think there's a really good opportunity, once we kind of protect ourselves against like a scenario where the market downturns and potentially Fox downturns. That's the hedging side. My cat is joining the call as well. We also have a growth side as well, where maybe we can actually smartly invest in different tokens and grow the assets, maybe pass those dividends on to holders of Fox. So a lot of exciting potential areas to jump in there. That's about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Kent, and thanks for the cameo from Ming too.
She says hi.
Guys, Al had some issues with my mic, but I also worked previously at ShapeShift. I was a financial engineer, worked across several of the teams, mainly on finance and trading, also just managing, most recently, a large portion of our crypto assets on several DeFi platforms. I'm not sure how public we are about that, but anyone wants to give me the okay to speak about that, but managed about 50 million across some DeFi protocols for the company there. Prior to joining, though, worked and built out a company called Bitfract, which was built on the original ShapeShift API, enabled asset allocation, easy asset allocation into multiple cryptocurrencies at once. So basically, I spent, prior to that, even though I was working in traditional finance, building out strategies for asset allocation and management. I pretty much spent my entire career focused on different types of asset allocation strategies across different asset classes, starting with stocks and bonds, real estate, and not until I heard of crypto. Once I found out about crypto, it was kind of the only thing I could focus on from there, just realizing that it would consume those other financial instruments, those classes. So once discovering that, that's kind of what led to Bitfract. But ever since then, I've had my hands pretty dirty in the DeFi world. And from the side of the committee, I'd be happy to contribute any of the ideas, the strategies for actually going about diversifying treasury assets, but also architecting and engineering some of the tools that will help us actually establish those positions, monitor those positions. That's something I have a lot of experience in as well.
Awesome. I would like to read, I think, unless this person is here, I just didn't see him in the thing. Wagme Adventures or Wagme Ventures and Daniel W. If you're here, raise your hand. Don't see him, but they did post as well and put their name out there. Let me just find it. 6 years in audit and financial due diligence and Big Four accounting, 6 years in private equity transactions, 2 blockchain projects, decent financial modeling skills, Mandarin, Cantonese, and English, current IT law student. And then I'll just take a quick second to shill myself for a second. Shill house, shilling yourself. I have worked at ShapeShift for over 5 years and been a part of our treasury management, inventory management team for majority of that time. I oversee around $100 million in operational cryptocurrency and the controls in place to secure it. Definitely from the audit, accounting, and control perspective, I just have a lot of experience taking ShapeShift through that and just like knowing where every Satoshi is, knowing every address that holds funds. I also have a long history with the Fox token, understanding, it from the very beginning iterations all the way to where it is now. I understand where all the Fox token is, is it in the Sablier contracts? Is it in our wallets? I have an understanding of the state of the treasury currently. And then, I bought my first Bitcoin in 2014 and I've just been hooked ever since. I'm a proud decentralization advocate. And like I said, I just have a strong eye for detail and would be a really beneficial member of the committee to help organize and clearly report all the moving parts. So that's our candidates. Thanks, everybody. I know that's putting you guys on the spot to come up here. So thanks, everybody, for talking about yourself. And I'll go right now and post the poll to pick your top 5. Thanks,
Awesome.
Kyle, for letting us have that time. Yeah.
Of course. Thank you, Dee. I appreciate us being able to do something kind of more, I guess in person is not the right way, but beyond the forum for that, because I think it really gives some more color. All right. And I didn't see Zeke Nate anywhere there, and he doesn't look like he even has a Zeke Nate tag at our forum or in our Discord. So I'll just, in a couple of seconds, communicate what his post was about. He was excited seeing everything that's going on in the DAO and was requesting some form of video or podcast recap of this week in the DAO, kind of like something like what I think there's some podcasts out there doing things like this now. I know I've seen Hunt hustling really hard with Irina, one of our new DAO contributor members, to try and get a newsletter together. So I think that might be something that we can lean into first, start responding to that need. But I would love to see some people post their opinions inside the forum post opposite Zeke Nate's idea there and see if we can come up with incubating that idea into some form of proposal. If we can get the good word of the Fox fam out to more people, I'm all for it. And then I did promise Mr. Nerdhair that he would get some space in the agenda. So I unfortunately didn't get it on my slide in time because he snuck it in so last minute. But Mr. Nerdhair, if you're out there, please join me.
Yeah, I told him I did that just to make him look bad, but it may have something to do with me being slow at writing things. Anyway, I've got a new post up on the forum to start the process of proposing the replacement for the centralized ShapeShift responsible disclosure program. This is our bug bounty program that incentivizes security researchers to disclose the bugs that they find to us instead of to the bad guys. The centralized ShapeShift program shut down at the beginning of the month. The DAO program that I'm proposing will be it probably needs to come into effect before we launch a product, but that hasn't happened yet. So we have a little leeway before where we can think about the future of it. The proposal that I'm putting up includes a couple of solutions that I'm proposing to the two biggest problems that I see with running a bug bounty program in a decentralized fashion. The first is choosing how much to assign to a given vulnerability as a bounty. Very serious vulnerabilities typically should be awarded with serious bounties. That's sort of the industry standard. But how are you going to budget that? Are you going to give the security workstream $1 million Fox and just never spend it unless something happens? Who do you trust? It's just a hard problem. So I'm suggesting the selection of a bounty committee who will have the job of periodically meeting and reviewing the bounties in a similar process to what we used to do internally, in a centralized fashion, and award bounties. And that the output of that committee be a omnibus proposal to the DAO that skips the forum and ideation steps and goes just straight to vote, that will allocate the money directly from the Treasury. The point of that is that, I mean, it's going to be the same thing every time, right? It's going to be, we propose that you pay this much money to these people. And the DAO needs to have oversight on that. But I expect most of that operational, oversight will come in the form of, at the committee level. And, the DAO needs a kill switch, but not necessarily a debate at that point. I would hope that's, the problem that's being solved. The second problem is that the process of scoring bounties typically takes longer to do well than the average security researcher would like to get paid. That is kind of a problem that we can't solve easily in a centralized fashion, but in a decentralized fashion we can. I'm proposing a system that recognizes each report that's made that is valid, that's a valid vulnerability, with an NFT, and that the bounties that we pay be paid to the holder of the NFT. That'll enable researchers who would like to cash out early to sell their NFT to someone who can speculate on the value of it. I'm assuming that these speculators would be people that, are probably DAO contributors, probably tied into the process, and, have some idea of how much the thing is actually worth. So we can use a market-based system to help insulate researchers from the internals of our own payment system. And the NFT process would also allow the researcher to retain credit for for their contribution. One of the things that researchers really like to have is something they can point to on their resume or in a portfolio to be able to say to other vendors or other potential clients, look, I reported things, I handled things in a professional manner. This is an example of my work. And that's something you can't often do in the security field just due to the nature of confidentiality in many cases. And having a NFT-based portfolio mechanism, I think would be a real value add for us. So I've got the details of all this in my new forum post up, and I encourage you all to read and comment on it. I haven't gotten as far as specific amounts of cash because I want to consider and get feedback on the ideas instead of their specific implementation details. But I invite all your questions and feedback and so forth.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nerdhair. I'd also like to add that you've got an outstanding office hours that I'm pretty sure you went a little bit into detail of this earlier, and that's in the recorded meetings. But if you guys enjoy hearing me talk, you should definitely enjoy Mr. Nerdhair, because he actually knows what he's talking about all the time and gets into fascinating conversations.
Thank you very much. If anyone wants to suggest topics to go over in those office hours, please give me speaking prompts, because I always worry that the stuff that I come up with is going to be stuff nobody's interested in. So anyway,
always fascinated, and I find those office hours to be highly enjoyable. So thank you very much, and thanks for sneaking in so we could get you on this call this week. I'll make sure that the slides get updated to have your links in there. All right, and then I think I've just got a couple last comments to make before we wrap up today, guys. These are our old forum posts. These slowly drift off of our slides each week if there's no new information to be had from them. or if they've kind of run their course. It looks like in the stage chat I saw that Willie Fox reached out to Steve to see about getting this moved forward into ideation. I'd love to also mention, because it hasn't been said in a long time, that LoraxDude did provide a proposal that was passed by the community previously about another merch store, and maybe the conversation needs to be around if Steve does not get back to us by X day, that we end up honoring the proposal that was passed by the community for LoraxDude and getting this merch store up so I can get my Diggy for President t-shirt. And then the other thing that we've got on here is Eric has offered, outside of the government's process, this really awesome bounty for us to get WebV2 going. There's a whole bunch of details about that have kind of been trickling out all over the Discord, and you'll see the engineers working extra hours and extra diligently to get this out there. You can feel free to reach out to myself, to Josh, to lots of other people that are closely involved in this. If you've got any questions about what entails in the V2 beyond what is described inside the forum post there. But it's going to be us launching the open source version of the Shapeshift product suite. So I'm really, really excited for that and hope we can hit that date. I think that's all we've got now. We've only got 3 minutes left, so I'm going to go right back to that really awesome animation from Gray Machine. I can't appreciate these artworks enough. Keep them rolling. I'll keep putting cool things that you make inside these governance slides so we can share them with the world. So does anyone else have anything else they'd like to share in these last couple of minutes before we say GM?
The poll is up. I'm going to post it one more time, the link in stage chat. And I had it closed tomorrow at 2 p.m. So get your votes in.
Thank you very much, B.
I also wanted to just comment on the, while we're here, the proposal for the TDM. I think, like you said, LoraxDude's proposal has passed. So technically LoraxDude, he's free to move forward with that. He's kind of just doing a favor to the community to give us a chance to consider this TDM proposal. And fortunately, we did think it was going to move a lot quicker. But I do know the last we heard from Steve was that he had just gotten back from a vacation in Mexico. It hasn't even been a week yet. So I do hope that we'll hear from him soon. If we still haven't heard from him by next governance call, then I do think we should get in touch with LoraxDude and consider just moving forward with LoraxDude's proposal. But I'm still optimistic and holding out hope that we'll hear back from Steve soon.
We already have an acronym, TD and M. I love it.
TD and M, it's too much to type it out every time.
But I think it's TM and D. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Whoops. I guess I was getting confused with Top Drawer merch or something. Sweet. Thanks everyone.
Awesome. Thanks everyone. What a great governance call we had. Glad to do a deep dive with Danielle and get all that information there on that new committee forming. And yeah, thank you everyone for your time, for your focus, and make it a good GM.